Getting ready to put the refrigerator roof vent on, and before I do, wanted to show you a couple quick things. Number one, what I did to the refrigerator vent inside while I was pouring the rubber roof on. I was worried about this rubber roof, if I dripped any or if it ran over the edge and dripped down or spilled or splashed. I was worried about it getting down inside the refrigerator cooling unit itself and messing things up. I thought, what do? Well, that's easy. You just get a couple of garbage bags and you cover up everything inside here and keep the dust and everything out. And you can see there's a couple of little splashes and spills in here. There's a couple of places that it kind of dribbled down in there. Slides it into sawdust and stuff. There's the top of the refrigerator, and you can see also that I replaced the old aluminum tape that was in here, because all this aluminum tape was coming up and around the edge here, and the aluminum tape had curled up and curled over, and it made a big mess, and there was hardly any ventilation up here at all. I don't know how the refrigerator was working for the previous owner, but I cut some tin flashing that I had in the garage. I cut it to shape and cut it to fit, and you can see it's kind of folded over and everything in here, and there's insulation on the end there, insulation on the end here, and there's more tin flashing here. I have it stapled in and screwed in on this side. So that's the vent for the refrigerator, and I plan on putting a couple fans down below. But for now I have to put the vent cover on. I got a new cover. It was only like 13 bucks or 15 bucks for this, and it was another 18 or $20 for the top piece. This plastic, this vinyl plastic, gets old and brittle, and it starts to break real easy after years in the sun and the weather and the heat. So I figured, for another 30 or 40 bucks, let's just replace the refrigerator vent. Well, the refrigerator vent, as you can see, it comes with this mesh already inside here to keep what? I don't know, birds, I suppose. But it's not an insect proof, because you can see from the size of the holes, they're plenty big for an insect to get through. Mud dauber or a wasp can get down in here and build their nest. So what I did was I put this screen over the top of it. This is just fiberglass screen, some more stuff I had in the house, and as it turns out, the screen was just wide enough to reach to the ends, just barely reached the ends, but hey, it's good enough. And I cut out, this is where the top piece is going to go in, so I just cut out the screen around this fitting, and then I put red in there so that I can, when I'm putting the top on, I can look down in the hole in the top and find the little red spot to line it up. Lock it in. At least that's the plan. We all know how plans go. I super glued this screen down along the edge here and then around the edges down here. I do not recommend doing that. It took forever and it was a royal pain in the butt. I did the same thing to the refrigerator lower vent cover, and that was a huge project. I'll show you that another day. Another thing I decided to change on this installation was, instead of using the round head or pan head screws to hold down the vent cover like every other manufacturer does, and this one as well, Gulfstream uses the round headed square drive screws, I'm going to be covering the screws with Eternabond tape on all edges. So I decided to get them as flat as possible. I'm going with flat. I have some flathead sheet metal screws and some flathead self-drilling drywall screws. And I'm going to use these in places where I know there's no wire, because I don't want to go running into any, I don't want to go drilling screws through here and piercing any wires. That would really make for a bad day. After doing all this work, rip it all up to replace the wires? I don't think so. But I wanted to use the 1.5 inch because there's wood here and then there's a 2x4 underneath on this end as well to get a little extra grip on it. I kind of chamfered out the holes so that the heads of the screws would sit in there a little deeper, a little flatter. Drop one through here and you can see that it sits flush with the surface of the vent cover flange, and that's what I want. So this is going to take some time. Time for me to get to work. Another part I forgot to mention. Butyl tape. Even though I am covering the flange and the screws with the Eternabond tape, and that will certainly be enough to waterproof it. Butyl tape is cheap, easy to put on, and it's an extra layer of insurance. And I'm a big believer in overkill. If I may have mentioned that once or twice already. Well, I decided I wanted to bug-proof the side refrigerator vent. That means putting screens on it. And as you can see, the middle part, the panel that comes out, the access panel, is not the only part that has vents. There are vents down the side on this unit as well. So I ended up taking the whole thing out so I could put screens over all those little vents. It was a royal pain in the butt and took a long, long time. I enjoy putsy, fine work, little stuff like that. That's up my alley. But this took forever. By the time I got done, I was sick of it. But it is now bug-proof and time to put some butyl tape around the edge and put it back in. Now what I plan on doing here, I have this big open space inside here. I'm going to get a pan, cake pan or something like that, plastic, and put it in there and have this drain tube drip into that pan. And that will certainly evaporate faster than it's ever going to drip out of this thing. And that way I don't have to have the drain tube hanging outside. And another project I'm going to work on is putting some fans in, blowing up. I dug out all the old silicone that was here. It was all nasty and dirty, and of course it's not going to seal up to the new one, or when I put this back in. I'm going to replace this. This is a PEX line, and this is a solid copper line. These are a pain in the butt. I have to find an adapter to go from this right to a flex tube for the valve for the ice maker. And that's another day. Back to work. I'm working on putting on the Skylight Dome now. Alright, time to break out the drill and the screws and get this thing put down. Fastened down. I'm not going to shoot it. Okay, back to work. Well, it's coming together. You can see I have the bottom half of the refrigerator vent cover on, the skylight cover on, the bathroom vent fan on. Those are all new. And then I have the 360 siphon or something, I forget what that's called. That seems to be getting rave reviews, so hey, I've got to put a cover on it. Let's put a good one on there. And it's cheap. It's like 20 bucks or 30 bucks for that thing. Well, compared to what? The other little junky one was like 5 bucks. So what? I have a fantastic fan that I took out of this spot that I have to put back in yet. I have to work on it because the fantastic fan is not working properly. But I am very pleased with the way it's shaping up. I'm very happy with the way it looks. And when I clean the dust off of it, it looks great. It's a creamy white. It's not a brilliant snow white. It's a off-white, not even an eggshell. At least that's how it looks. This is indoors. When I take it outdoors and have a look at it in the sunlight, it may surprise me. But it's really coming together. Time for me to get my butt home and get to sleep so I can come and do it all over again tomorrow. Fun. See you.